and 3 is prevention. One of the things that we do on the South Side is we are great advocates of the philosophy of restorative justice. If you haven't heard of it, anybody y'all have y'all pens out? See, I said I was going to give you some information and nobody's writing. My phone number, 773-783-5100. 773-783-5100. So, community justice centers, community prosecution, 773-783-5100. That's the South Side Community Justice Center, the State's Attorney's Community Prosecution's Office on the South Side. If you live on the west side, the north side, or in the central area, you can call me and we'll give you their information as well. But this is what I really want to get to. You know, because of the number of shootings and murders that have occurred in the city of Chicago and in the south suburbs, though we don't talk about them as much, the state's attorney went down to the legislature and had some gun laws passed. One of the gun laws that was passed was called an aggravated unlawful use of weapon. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I see young people and older people who had no idea the consequences winding up going to prison, like deer caught in the headlights. If you do not have a firearm owner's identification card and you are caught illegally possessing a firearm, you are going to prison. You will not get probation. You will not get supervision. You will not get a pass. You going, except the pass from Stateville to whatever prison you're going to serve in, you're going to prison for 1 to 3 years. If you have a gun illegally and no firearm owner's identification card in your car on the corner as you walk down the street, you're going to prison. 18 years and older, you're going to prison. If you have a gun and you have an FOID card, but you're transporting the gun illegally or you're possessing it illegally, you're going to become a felon. I was in court the other day. A man, 49 years old, worked since he was 13, college graduate, owns his own business, an upstanding member of the community, became a felon because he was transporting his gun illegally, even though he had an FOID card. If a person is in a gang and they get caught with a gun and no FOID card, they're going to prison for 3 to 10 years. Why am I telling you this? Because it's important, because on that bus every Friday leaving Cook County Jail are so many of our young people, particularly our young men, on their way to prison because they didn't know. Let them know. And then the other thing is, if you have a gun that's lost or stolen, you must report it as of 5 days ago when the governor signed the bill, within 72 hours. If you have a gun that's lost or stolen, you have to report it within 72 hours. And the state's attorney worked really, really hard and really, really long to get this gun passed. The reason why is because it helps in dealing with trafficking. The question is, how does a 15-year-old get a gun? Sometimes it seems like somebody drives a big old tractor trailer truck, leaves it parked on the block, opens the back door and tells everybody, get what you need or get what you want. And then the last thing is the concealed carry law. There is a concealed carry law that passed. The legislation for it hasn't been put in place yet in terms of the penalties and the regulations, but I can see a 2-tier system here if we're not careful, if we don't educate people. We're going to have the privileged and educated walking around carrying guns legally. And then we're going to have our kids going to prison just because they are carrying them illegally. And so if you would just take those things back, let young people know, leave your gun at home. You don't need it on the street. It's not going to protect you. I've never known anybody who was about to get shot where the shooter said, hey, get your gun because I'm about to shoot you. It's always an ambush. And so you die with your gun on you or you get shot with your gun on you. So please, please, please let our children know, let our young people know that they need to get legal. They need to do it the right way if they want to carry a gun and to stay out of prison. My name is Kathy Bankhead. I'm a restorative justice advocate and a prosecutor here in Cook County. I live in the south suburbs. I thank you for your time. God bless you. Please sacrifice your time. Serve by telling somebody else and influence them to follow the law. Thank you.
Very, very grateful to our public servants. And we're going to get ready to transition this program into the State of the Union program. I just want to mention, our brother mentioned Tuskegee Airmen. I went to lunch with one of the Tuskegee Airmen before I retired from the military. They're in the Atlanta area. And we were sitting at lunch just speaking about and talking about that experience that they had. And he was telling us about what they accomplished, from his personal experience. And then they started talking about the ages that they were. And it came up that some of them were 15 years old. And I knew, when I studied the military and history, they didn't let you in until 15. So I had to ask the question. I said, how y'all did that? He said, we lied. He said, and our parents helped us. And I said, well, you trying to tell me that 15-year-olds, they were able to, with inferior training and inferior equipment, be able to serve superiorly with those that had superior training and superior equipment, and they exceeded them? I said, wow. That tells me the potential of our young people. I was asking him a question, and I said, to date. He said, no, it doesn't. So I said, why you say that? He said, because then we knew what we had to do. He said, yeah, we started fighting in our history to be free. He said, but we began to see it as an obligation. Our families are here. We lost lives here. Our blood is in this land. We buried all over this place. He said, we know our circumstances. And he said, we know what God put in us. That's why we excel. He said, in order for the youth today to be able to do what we did, they would have to become conscious. Isn't that wonderful? We got to get the conscious. He said, once they get the conscious level back up, then that potential level kicks in. And they can begin to excel and excel. So we are so grateful for the sacrifices that they made. I was a chief in the Air Force. Now you go from 60, you start looking back, it'll be hard to find a chief in the Air Force. It's because of them. They'll tell you they couldn't give us so much rank. But they all paved the way so we can continue to move. And it's doing a great service for us. I stayed in that long just because we saw the kind of impact we were having. Like our brother was talking about how they have to see the name tag and what they have to do. At the level I was at the command level as a chief, when I go into a place as a meeting, they have to put on the schedule prayer for me. Everybody know that at this time he has to break for prayer. Those kind of things. It makes a big difference. So we have to be in the environment to influence the environment. You can't be on the outside and trying to influence it. Imam told us that his father pulled us out to clean us up, but it was his job to get us back in. And he did it in such a wonderful way, didn't he? Wonderful way. Yeah, we're so grateful, we're so thankful. We got all our resources now, So we're going to get ready to transition. Before we transition, I have to bring up the host speaker, the president of this. And again, we can't dismiss, and we have to see the beauty and the value, first of all, in him. I've been working with him a little closer since his father passed, and sitting with him and other people. And I tell you, when they sit with him, they have a good taste in their mouth. None of them leave with a bad taste in their mouth. His spirit is just a beautiful spirit. You have to see it. And you can understand. Imam. We talked about sadaqah and their sacrifice, but our Imam right now is getting what's called sadaqah jariyah, continuing blessings. You see, because why? One of those things, every category that the Prophet told us about Imam, about what continues after you pass, Imam Mohammed has filled every one of them. Knowledge that benefits, institutions, etc. And then children, good children, who pray for you. You see? And the best prayer that he's doing for us, he's praying physically, but his work is a prayer for his father. Allahu Akbar. Imam to give him a good life, we have to build upon that. Consistently, he haven't missed a beat, not one of the programs. He continues those programs without missing a beat. You see, he said, because why? Because he had it. We cannot stop now. So somebody got to keep moving. People may stop you on the sideline and look, okay, where's it going to go now? But somebody got to keep moving because we can't stop. You see, but when it's time for them to move, they just have to catch up. But this is beautiful for us. We feel so good to be